Well, I'm still down here at Bogey Creek. I wanted to talk about a subject. Now, a few years ago, it was all the rage with a book by an author by the name of Brown, who wrote about Mary Magdalyn and the Holy Grail. Now, I've got mixed feelings on this story. There's a lot of things beyond all the stuff that was in Dan Brown's novel and the movie that come out with Tom Hanks. There's some of it I'm not quite sure about, but there's some of it that actually kind of rings true. Now, Mary Magdalyn was a follower of Jesus Christ, and I consider her a disciple, just like or an apostle, like all the rest of them. Now, she was a patron and supported them in their endeavors. And she traveled with them. Now, from the time that Jesus Christ was born and the time he started his ministry, they claim he was about 30 years old when he started his ministry. Now, normally, by the time a rabbi is 30 years old, they're married. Now, after the birth and childhood of Jesus, like I say, it picks up when he's about 30 years old. One of the first, or actually probably the first, miracle that was performed was turning water into wine. Now, the reason I bring this particular incident up was at the wedding feast. Jesus' mother, Mary, come to him and said that they were running out of wine and that there wasn't going to be enough for the celebration. So Jesus turned water into wine. Well, usually, in most cases, the groom's mother was in charge of many things with the wedding ceremony, and it was Jesus's mother that was the one that was worried about the wine running out. Now, maybe that's just coincidence. Maybe it's not. Could possibly where Jesus turned water into wine. Could that have possibly have been his own wedding that he done this at? Who knows? It is a likelihood. So, it's not mentioned in the Bible that it was his wedding, but there's a lot of things that's not mentioned in the Bible. Just depends on where you look. And if you read other writings and testaments at the time about what was going on. Now, in the book of, trying to think which one it was, maybe it was the book of Thomas that is not in the Bible. Right now it escapes me. But they found a while back part of what they're attributing to Thomas, I think it was. Here again, don't take my word for it. I'm going strictly by memory and off the cuff here. But a piece of the parchment said that Jesus kissed Mary on the, well, then the next part of the parchment is missing. So maybe if he kissed her on the cheek, it was just a friendly thing. Maybe if he kissed her on the mouth, maybe it was his wife. Here again, I don't know. It's things I wonder about. But other, I don't know, maybe you'll call them coincidences or whatever. Mary followed Jesus, what presumably was, followed him all the way to his death and beyond, the resurrection. So we know she was at the crucifixion, and we know that his mother Mary was at the crucifixion. At least it says Mary was at the crucifixion. So when they took Jesus down from the cross, they took him to a nearby tomb and prepared him, presumably put a shroud on him. I don't think it was the Shroud of Turin. Could have been, but carbon dating says no on that. If you can trust carbon dating. Maybe that is his burial shroud, I don't know. But anyway, they put the stone in front of the crypt. Well, when Mary come back, Mary Magdalyn came back, the crypt door was rolled back. She looked inside, there was nobody there. So when she comes back out, basically, who does she run into but Jesus Christ? Now, was this another just coincidence that she was the one that found? She was the, I guess, only one that had went back to the crypt? So is it just coincidence that she was the one that found that the stone had been rolled away and Jesus Christ had risen. Here again, I don't know. It's just one of those questions. Now, is it another just coincidence that she was the one to carry this message back to the apostles and tell them that the Master had arisen? Here again, another coincidence, maybe? I don't know. Maybe there was a reason she was the one that done this. So, once Jesus had ascended into heaven, all of the apostles were scared for their lives, persecution or whatever, so they all got the heck out of Jerusalem. They all went their different ways to spread the good word. Well, there are those that say Mary was pregnant at the crucifixion, that she was carrying Jesus' child. Is that possible? I think so. Is it factual? Who knows? But I think it is quite probable. And I'll tell you, Christ was divine, of course, but he was a man. And I don't care how religious or how pious you are. If you're a man has urges, he has love, he has lust. And I'm not saying Jesus had all these, but he was on the earth as a man. So do I think it's possible that he and Mary Magdalyn were married and had a child? I don't know. Here again, there are some out there that say that Mary, much like the Templars later, left Jerusalem, traveled. She as well ended up in England. We talked about Rosslyn Chapel. But there was a report that supposedly Mary, when she hit Britain, that she had a child with her, and I think a maidservant, if I'm not mistaken. And that it was a female child. Some of them have even called a name. I don't recall it right off the top of my head. But they even have a name for this child. And again, coincidence? I don't know. But supposedly that's where she died. And supposedly, as we go back to the Knights Templar story, that quite possibly that the real Holy Grail was the bloodline of Jesus Christ himself. Here again, I don't know. I really don't. It's just one of those many options of what could have happened. Some people say, oh, no, 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 no. Well, that's having a closed mind, and I try to keep an open mind on everything. Use common sense. And I think that it's quite possible. Okay? Don't say it's true or not, but I think it's quite possible. So, if that story is true, then quite possibly there are descendants of Jesus Christ walking the earth today. Now, whether God would have allowed such a thing, I don't know. Would he? You know? Maybe it was all part of his grand design things. But anyway, it's just another story that I felt compelled to go into. And I leave it to everyone to form their own opinion about it. There's people on both sides of that fence. I know my Uncle Lyle would probably say no. My mother and I have talked about this. She definitely says no. But, like I said, in my opinion, I think there's enough circumstantial evidence to say, well, maybe so. So anyway, with that little story there and thought, or whatever, I'm going to wind it up with you. Once again, please like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate your time as always. Time is a precious thing we never get back. There's only so much of it. And I appreciate y'all spending these few minutes with me. I want y'all to have a great day, and God bless you.